And we're back. It's still Mama's Nest, powered by Cusson's Baby, makers of child skincare products to support moms on their motherhood journey. I'm still here with my guests, Dr. George Uchendu, medical doctor and health educator, and Dr. Olanike, who's also a mom of 2 kids. So far, you shared some expert advice, but there's still so much that we need to talk about, because I can bet you that so many women out there are going through postpartum depression and they have no idea that they are depressed.
Yeah.
So just moving on, what did you ever think of seeing a doctor or seeking medical help?
Okay, of course, yes. So for me, seeing a doctor would just be maybe sending a WhatsApp message to George. I mean, I don't have to, but so it would be like when it's getting deep, you know. Even myself and my husband were no longer besties. Everybody's just, I'm not vibing him, he's not vibing me, you understand? So I'm like, okay, so what's up? Like, it's, you know, this stuff is happening, it's real, it's getting, you know, it's getting longer than I expected. So yeah, at that point in time, I would actually just send a WhatsApp message to my friend, probably even my friend who is also a mom. You know, sometimes we share experiences, you know. I will not even really be surprised that this, my particular friend that is even posting vibing pictures of she and her husband, will tell you, see, I don't even know if I love him anymore. Yeah, you know, and she goes like, oh, when she gave birth, you know, her parents were not living with her. She was living alone. So she really wanted to bend down, and she did CS, bend down, wash the bathroom, take care of the baby herself, you know, all those things. And you just realize that you're actually not the only one, and it's actually deep on the other end.
On the other end. Well, now you even mentioned husband. And, you know, I said many women go through this. It's very serious, but they don't know that they're going through it. And what's even more shocking is that even their husbands don't know. So you see that your wife is always moody or she's unhappy. It might be deeper than that. It's not an Ogbanje face. It's very serious. It's very serious. It's not something that you'd say, go and pray about it. It's not something that you would say, oh, she's not interested in me anymore, maybe because the baby is taking so much of her time. It's deeper than that. It's so much deeper than that. But when would you advise that a woman seeks medical help?
So it's a matter of timing and the severity of symptoms. And this is something that, thankfully, we don't just have only mothers watching or potential mothers. We also have fathers, men, family members, people watching. Because sometimes, as we said, the mom might be having these things and not even know that she's having these things. It might take people around her to notice that since she gave birth, she's been very moody. She's been very sad. She's been having mood swings. She's been crying. She's been not eating well, she's not sleeping, she is feeling a certain kind of way. Maybe when they interact, she's asking, I don't think I will be a good mom to this child. Or she's saying, oh, I might hurt my child. Or so when these symptoms and all the symptoms we've mentioned have lasted for more than 2 weeks. That's one. If they've lasted for more than 2 weeks, because if it were pregnancy, if it were postpartum blues, you would expect that within 2 weeks, it will wear out once she gets used to her child. But if she's having all those symptoms, she doesn't want to really hold her child, she's not bonding with her child, it lasts for more than 2 weeks. And they are serious enough that it is very obvious and it is affecting her function, especially with her child. Then if she is not seeing the doctor, then people around her that have observed this thing need to take her to see a doctor to talk about some of the symptoms. It might not just be a doctor, it might be a psychologist, a therapist. But someone in the mental health space that will be able to ask few questions.
So before we leave this idea we're talking about now, I also just want to pop this in, that I think that husbands also need to constantly check on their wives, especially after childbirth. How are you feeling today? What's going on in your head? You know, are you happy? Are you genuinely happy? You know, just to be with her emotionally. Just to get because we might feel that way and not truly express it.
Very, very
so
true.
by the time you start to poke her, have you gotten enough rest?
Yeah, have you eaten?
Have you eaten?
Can I help?
You know, little things like that would go a long way to help prevent, and if it's there, to also detect it and maybe help to walk her through it. Because to be honest, sometimes you just need somebody to pat your back and say you are doing great. You'll be fine.
And men are very, very guilty of that.
Oh,
so
yes, speak for your species.
Yes, I will speak for my men. Please, let's do better. So we have our first.
I actually want to cut you short on that.
Okay, please go.
Okay, so when you say something like the men should actually check on their wives, so who checks on the men?
Yeah, taking
they're at a point.
That point, the woman is.
I think
because they actually get depressed.
They get depressed.
Yeah, that's another angle. It's actually called
there's
paternal.
A lot of truth.
Paternal. There's something actually called paternal postpartum depression.
Please, I know you're trying to speak for your people. Wait, hold on. I also think that we are at a point at that particular time that a woman gives birth.
Yeah.
She's at a point where she's more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And she needs that emotional support. That's not to say men don't get
because he's also at that point too.
He's not at any point, please.
No,
we're dealing with a lot more.
Let's be fair.
We're dealing with a lot more.
Let's be fair.
I agree with you, but only partially.
The woman is she's the center of everything going on.
Yes.
But in this age and time, let's be very fair, when we are trying to ensure that men are also actively involved in the pregnancy journey.
Yes.
If a man gets actively involved in the pregnancy journey, he would also feel that way, especially if there are also things going on around that period. He doesn't have money to take care of the child.
That's where my
He's
mind
a young
went
father who is being exposed.
I understand. Okay, so let's agree to disagree. So we check on each other.
Yes.
Deal?
So
but check on the man should even check. Probably when they start having conversations they can now say, I'm feeling a certain kind of way.
I think those conversations, couples don't really have them because everybody's busy trying to take care of the baby, trying to make sure that things are going smoothly as they can. The man is trying to meet up financially. So a lot of things is actually going on at that particular point in time. But take out time. It's hard because it's something you would hardly think about at that point in time, but take out time to have those conversations. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. It could be 5 minutes. It could be when you're going to bed or just before you sleep. It's important that we have those conversations. So one more thing, does this thing go away on its own? Is it a spiritual problem? Do we need to pray about it? Or do we need to take drugs? But does it go away on its own?
Okay, was it a spiritual problem? No, it's not a spiritual problem. It doesn't mean that you're a bad mom.
It doesn't mean you're a bad mom. Or you will be a bad mom.
Be a bad mom. It is absolutely no. You're not alone in this.
It's normal.
It's normal. It happens. Hormones interplay, and it can just crash, and it will just reflect. There can be other things going on within the journey that would mean that the woman is not in the optimum frame of mind to handle that new phase. Does it go on its own? Maybe postpartum blues, probably. But it's not, if you don't actively do something about it.
If you're not intentional about it.
If you're not intentional about it, it would not just disappear. It would not just go away. And postpartum depression left untreated can progress to full-blown actual depression. And the other things that come with it, like a severe form of postpartum depression called a postpartum psychosis. So it will not just disappear. The moment you identify it, please.
If you identify it,
and if you are unlocked, if you identify it and it is transient, well and good, it will go. But if you identify it and it's not even transient, and it's something that is lasting beyond normal time frame, you must look into it, because it will not just go, we are now done, okay, now we are waiting for your next.
My pastor has prayed for me.
No, it's not. Why prayer can help?
Of course, yes.
It's a form of support.
Prayer, yes, definitely.
But
speak to your spiritual leader, your ministers, yes.
You don't depend fully on them.
Don't rule that out.
Seek help if you really need to seek help.
Yes. Did yours go away on its own?
Yes, it did. Actually. Yeah, fortunately, it did.
Okay.
So I think that some women are even lucky when you talk about self-esteem, confidence, their person.
Yes.
They are able to handle these things, talk to themselves, and say, "Oh, you know what?" and fight through this. Some women might not have that ability to fight through it alone. And
yes. I had to pull myself out of it on my own. Yeah. Because I got to a point, like I said, where I kept asking myself, so is this how your life is going to be now? Like, so Foma, is this you? Before I had my babies, I used to travel a lot. I used to meet a lot of people. I was bawling.
Yeah.
The only reason why I used to live abroad, the only reason why I came back was to get married, and then immediately after, or almost immediately after, I started having babies. So it just really got me thinking that, Foma, is this you? Like, you guys to hop around.
Yeah, you're looking at pictures.
Today you
have
videos. Carried your bag, you traveled.
Yeah.
So now is this you? You're just sitting at home all day. In fact, I'd forgotten who I was or what I used to be. I'd forgotten all the things I was capable of doing. I'd forgotten my dreams. It was only after my baby had grown a little and I started to reconnect back to my dreams and all the things I always wanted to do. And I started doing them one by one. And in the midst of it, I also started a business. So if you're out there and you're going through this, I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's not the end. And it might also be that something is going to be birthed from the entire process. A lot of women, for instance, they lose their jobs. They have to leave work. Sometimes from pregnancy phase till they give birth, and it's not easy. It's not easy that you were earning before and now you have to depend on your husband giving you an allowance at the end of the month or whatever. So it's not easy. It's easy to pity yourself and look down on yourself that, is this me now? But I think it's just a phase, really. It's a phase. And usually when the kids start to grow up, it starts to get better because you get more and more independence and time to yourself. Yes. All right. It's been an interesting conversation, but there's still more to come because postpartum depression is something that really we need to talk about it more. We don't have enough conversations about these things. And we're going on a quick break. Don't forget that Mama's Nest is proudly powered by Cousins Baby, makers of child skincare products to support moms on their motherhood journey. We'll see you shortly. Please don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're still watching Mama's Nest, proudly powered by Cousins Baby, makers of child skincare products to support moms on their motherhood journey. Before we went on the break, we were talking about postpartum depression. And so far, we've been able to establish that if it's just within 2 weeks where you're feeling depressed, you're not happy, or you're crying after you've had your baby, it's most probably postpartum blues, right? Postpartum blues.
Yeah, or baby blues.
Yeah. But then if it exceeds the 2-week frame, you're still feeling sad, you're not happy, you just had a baby, you're supposed to be happy, right? But you're feeling depressed, you're not happy, or you're angry, or you have thoughts of probably harming the baby, then what you're experiencing is most probably
postpartum depression.
Postpartum depression. So if it's past 2 weeks, it's postpartum depression.
Yes.
And if it's within 2 weeks, postpartum blues or baby blues.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
So I'm still here with my guest. Thank you for making that correction as well. And before we went on the break, you mentioned postpartum psychosis.
Yes.
Can you please go deeper into that?
So on the range of what you talk about baby blues, then you talk about postpartum depression, the most severe that can progress to the extreme part of that depressive period or episode is what we call postpartum psychosis. A very rare condition, I must say.
I see. Now I remember, let me just say this.
Please.
I remember a friend of mine was telling me about how she had a baby. She was alone. She was always tired. Baby was always crying.
Yes.
And she was just tired of everything. She said at some point she wanted to throw the baby down from upstairs.
Wow.
Like she wanted to. So now you said this. I just remember that story that she told me. And I was judging her. I'm like, you're a mom. How can you do that to your baby? So it's actually a condition. She said she wanted to throw the baby down. The baby was always crying in the night. She was upset.
Yeah.
And at some point, she remembered that she just threw the baby away.
Yes.
Like she was on the bed and she just threw the baby towards the wall. That it was God that saved the baby. So that can actually happen.
Yeah, it's a rare condition, but it's very, very possible. I mean, according to statistics, 1 in about 1,000 women have it, and it's a higher level. So they are very, very angry. Yeah. They are very, very sad. The tears, the baby would usually cry very, very often, but in postpartum depression, for example, a baby crying will just make the woman feel like, what is the
Maybe a bit worried.
But in postpartum psychosis, she's angry, like, why are you disturbing me? Why are you stressing my life?
Oh.
And they take the thoughts, they take it from thoughts to actions where they begin to harm the child or even harm themselves. They begin to have suicidal thoughts. They begin to feel like they should just live this life so that anybody should just handle the baby. And we've seen situations.
It could not be the reason why some mothers run away.
Exactly what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
They run away. You see some people drop their babies in dustbins or in waste areas because they just feel very, very overwhelmed. Is this sort of mania, but with their emotions. So it's just rage.
While we are talking about running away, please, is it normal to feel like running away?
When you're overwhelmed, yes.
So I'm not alone in this. So I'm normal.
When the stress begins to get to you, you have to breastfeed, you have to feed, you have to do this, you have to take care of the
home.
And then to now add the fact that you might not now really have people around you to help out, or your husband doesn't really care. He still expects you to do all of that and still attend to him.
Service him later on.
Do you understand? So all of that, you can feel like, you know what? Why am I even wasting my time? Let me go so that you people can
take over.
Maybe can handle things. But it doesn't make you abnormal.
Okay.
It doesn't make you less of a woman.
Condition.
It's just a condition. And the moment those kind of symptoms begin to set in, you don't waste time.
Yeah.
You seek help.
At least talk to someone.
Or even if the person might not be able to talk to someone, if someone notices if someone notices those kind of very, very, quote, violent responses or emotions, you need to point it out. This person is experiencing this. There's something wrong.
Normal.
It's not normal.
It's not normal.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead to bust some myths concerning postpartum depression. We had stated earlier that you actually raised it. That how about the men too? Because it's I think it seems like it only happens to women, but seriously, why would a man be depressed? I don't understand. I was saying that, come on, we just had the baby. Yeah. You should be happy that your wife just had a baby.
Yes.
What are some of the reasons you think a man would be depressed?
Like you rightly said, money.
It's too important.
Money. Then it's space. It's
space.
Yes, of course, it's space. Because when you're nursing the baby, when the baby is crying at night, he's not deaf.
They don't hear.
They do.
No, we hear.
They do.
Even the space.
You people don't.
We hear. We hear.
My husband doesn't hear.
The baby will literally be in the room with the man.
They do. Sometimes they
might just pretend
some
like
of them don't hear.
In fact, the space that she mentioned is even from another context of before the baby came, your wife was the center. She was the one. She gave you attention.
Of course.
Now the baby has come and attention has shifted from you as the man to the baby, and the man is like, hell, like, what's going on? I'm still here. What's going on? Right? So,
I get
money,
that.
definitely.
I get that. Money.
Diapers are now very expensive.
Yeah.
Baby food is hitting the roof. So, you enter the mall and you're looking at this.
Especially in this financial climate, harsh financial climate.
You're looking at yourself, you're like, who sent me?
Probably had expectations, right, when my baby comes, maybe we're not going to be in this
kind of space.
And then it happens so fast and you're still there.
Which makes me give an example. So I have this friend whose wife is giving birth, and before the wife gave birth, he planned to move out. He was living in a mini flat.
Oh, I see.
And he was expecting that by the time he's having his first child,
he will
move out to a two-bed to have more space. By then, we'll have a stable job. And these things were not fitting in.
The things didn't go as planned.
And it was really, really sad.
I get that.
It was really, really sad.
I get that.
And I said earlier that there's something actually called paternal postpartum depression, where the man, even though he's not the one directly being affected, but indirectly with other things going on, it might also be that he was quarreling with his wife at the point where she was, or they were not in good terms, or he was fighting with family people, or he lost his job, or he lost a close family relative at the time. So all these things will come, and then the man is also thinking of himself like, I'm going to become a father. Yeah. People expect that men, by becoming
live up to expectations. And there's a certain expectation that society places on men, that you must be this, you must be that, you must have this or have that, and all of that.
And all those things come together, and the man begins to feel. And as you said, if you're even focusing on the women in terms of providing support, not too many people will now think about the man. Because they believe like you're not the one that gave birth, so why?
What's your own?
What's your own?
Yes.
Exactly.
So is it also true that women with postpartum depression cry all the time?
You cry.
Okay.
Truthfully, you cry, but maybe not all the time, but you cry.
There might be other
Yes.
symptoms,
Yes.
not necessarily
But they
crying.
cry a lot.
Yeah, you cry.
cry a lot.
They cry a lot. They cry a lot.
It's like you've experienced
I mean,
somebody with...
yes, from practice, yes.
Oh,
They cry
from
a lot,
practice.
especially once they are just bringing the child to come and breast. Oh my God.
So do they tell you why they're crying?
No, they won't. A lot of them don't even know why they're crying.
Why you're crying may not
sense.
even make sense.
Yes.
Might be something you usually would joke about. Someone just
Yes.
throws a joke at you that you usually laugh about.
just start
Like,
crying.
it's not funny.
I
You're looking
get
at yourself
that.
in the mirror. As she
I'm
said,
laughing now, but please, it's a serious matter.
you're looking at
It's a
yourself in the
serious
mirror and you're
matter.
like, what's going on? And they just break down. So they cry a lot, they're anxious a lot, they are scared of what is coming ahead.
What is coming ahead,
don't
the
even know.
future, uncertainty.
A lot of times they don't even know why they're crying. They just break down and start crying.
Yeah.
So they cry a lot, but maybe not all the time. But if a woman notices that she's crying all the time,
You can't be crying and your baby is crying. Who is going to console the baby? Who is going to console you? You have to stay strong.
Yeah.
You really have to stay strong for your baby. A lot of things are changing. Your life is never going to be the same again.
Yes.
That is certain.
And to be honest,
but
that has to
everything
be
will be fine.
acknowledged.
It has to be. You have to accept it. And you have to come to peace with it.
Yes.
You have to come to peace with it. Because I remember by the time my baby turned 1, she was very clingy. And I was trying to do some academic work, but she wouldn't give me any space. So I decided, let me put her in a crèche with my other kids. By the time, because I was seriously thinking of what to do in my life, I was like, come on, I can't keep doing this. So I was trying to do some academic work. And I was like, okay, let me put her in a crèche. While she's there, I can study. At the crèche, she would pinch them, she would cry, they would force feed her, she got hurt, and I didn't want them to force feed her, so I had to take her back, and I just came to peace with the idea that
very important.
I have to dedicate 2 years after birth to take her, to focus on raising her. When she's older and more mature, then she can start school. So my 2 years is ticking. Once we start school, I'm going to do freedom party for myself. And I'm going to invite you guys. I'm serious. I need to throw myself a party.
There's something we don't, while our mothers, I mean, the generation before us, our mothers, they literally dedicated their lives.
Their life, it's true.
And we don't give them enough
credit for that.
They literally left their ambition just to take care of their children. And that's a lot.
At least up till a certain age.
Before they maybe go back. My mom, for example, I'll use my mom as an example. My mom is a prof in a Nigerian university.
Awesome.
And she did not begin her journey to becoming PhD and becoming a prof for masters till we are 5. 4 boys and a girl. So she took her time.
Okay.
She stopped. She was working. She was very comfortable, a career woman. She had to put all of that on pause and train, give birth to all of us.
The sacrifices we make.
Massive sacrifice. And that's where the man also comes in, because you were talking about a man being, you're talking about yourself, thinking about all the things you had to let go. Your career, your future. So having a man who, while you are on that taking care of your children journey, also reminding you that, babe, while you are doing all of this, you have a future.
You have a future.
You must get back to it.
Sorry, to quickly chip something in. During our own time, there was no social media pressure, right?
Right.
For me, I'm at home. I'm on my nice gown on Nnet. I'm not seeing my child. And I just check Instagram and see Toby, MSc in the bag.
I know. Tell me about it.
And I've not done anything. It was just a degree I had before I got married. Like I still, you understand that I'm start feeling like, God, I'll start all over again. And that's another thing about depression, because it could run in cycles. Like you can actually be getting better, see another trigger, and go back to that
and I think social media is actually a big trigger these days.
It is. As she said, you're seeing wins everywhere. You're seeing lifestyles. You're seeing your friends popping
You're just getting bombarded from every angle. Every social media platform you go on, you're constantly
WhatsApp
bombarded.
groups. People are on their class groups. People are updating their wins.
Yes.
People are sharing congratulatory messages, and you are thinking to yourself, like, I will just
see my life.
Seriously.
God, when? God, when?
For the social media pressure, what I really want to say to mothers is that it's actually not that deep. You take one day at a time. Yeah, that's it. It's a phase, and it's not going to last forever. The kids are going to grow up, and they're going to make you so proud.
Definitely.
And you're going to pat yourself at the back like you did a good job. Yeah. So I raised this kid, so.
Yes, I think it's important to stop comparing yourself with others.
Yes, it
is.
From my own experience, when the kids are little, it's very overwhelming. It gets intense. But by the time they start to get independent, it eases off. Yeah. You also start to get independent. Yeah.
Yes.
And don't forget that you also have the whole of your life ahead of you to chase anything that you want to chase. You want to build a career. Yeah. Very soon the kids will grow up. And guess what? They're also going to leave the house soon. It seems like a long time, but guess what? Time flies. Time flies. But Doctor,
it also doesn't mean that because you're a career woman and you have children, there's no one size fits all. There's no once you have children, stop everything you're doing.
Yeah, of course.
Different strokes for different folks. Doesn't mean that the career women do not love
their children any less.
They found a way to make it work. They found a way to give. That's why at workplaces we have they give maternity leave. There's some special compensation.
Give paternity leave sometimes, you know.
They give paternity leave. They give some special concessions, crutches, breastfeeding area, just to incorporate your child.
To help the woman balance
work and that new phase that she's getting into. Really.
Yes, interesting. All right, so Dr. George, any last words in case we have a mom out there who's struggling currently with postpartum depression?
What I would say will be, first and foremost, is that it is not a death sentence. It's not, as Nick was saying, it's not that deep. It is a lot, but it's not something that cannot be solved. First and foremost, I think that you need to be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself.
Kind to yourself. Admit, acknowledge, and accept this new phase you're getting is a beautiful phase. It's a thing of joy, and it's something that would benefit you on the long run, to be very honest. So be kind to yourself, measure your expectations. I know there are expectations out there of the kind of mother you should be, the kind of mom you should be to your kids, from our moms to what we see all over social media and in our society. But measure your expectations. Some things might not fit in at the time you want it to fit in, but measure your expectations and be patient with yourself. And more importantly, there is treatment. You can... once you notice that these symptoms are going beyond what we've said it should be for, speak to someone, your husband, your sister, your friend, family members who really care about you, and seek the help of a therapist. Thankfully, we're having mental health conversations increasingly these days. So speak to a therapist, speak to a psychologist, speak to a doctor friend, tell them this is what you're having and they can probably help you. And it might get to a certain level, they will now introduce drugs. But the first thing to do is to speak up.
Speak up, yes. Don't bottle it in. A problem shared is a problem solved. Definitely. Basically. Well, you've heard it all from our guests. It's not a death sentence. You are doing just fine. Learn to give yourself some credit. Yes. You're doing awesome. You're doing amazing, actually. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. George. Thank you. It's been such an amazing and engaging conversation. And I kind of feel like we've not even finished talking about this topic yet. Exactly. I hope that you've learned one or two things, and I want to thank you especially for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the comment section or send it in as a message to any one of our social media handles now scrolling on your screen. While you're at it, don't forget to like and follow us for more exclusive content. Don't forget, too, that you can download the Mama's Nest app. It's available for iOS and Android. Well, we've come to the end of the show.
Yeah, we have.
I look forward to the next episode with you. Mama's Nest is proudly powered by Cousins Baby, makers of child skincare products to support moms on their motherhood journey. I'll see you next time, Mom. It may seem hard right now, but don't forget that you can do this. Bye.